Hi friend, I am Dr. Hitesh Tomar, consultant anesthetist and pain specialist and director of Academy of Regional Nerve Blocks and author of Pocket Book on Painless Labor. Today I am going to perform PNS guided lumbar and sacral plexus block for total hip replacement surgery. Lumbar and sacral plexus block is the advanced regional anesthesia technique practiced by relatively very few regional anesthetists because it is very challenging to locate the fascial plane of lumbar and sacral plexus, and if needle tip is not precisely located inside the fascial plane, resulted in frequent failure also. This is the schematic diagram showing various plexus inside our body. That one will be the cervical plexus, brachial plexus, lumbar plexus and sacral plexus. Indication: lumbar plexus and sacral plexus block will provide complete anesthesia as well as analgesia for entire lower extremity surgery, and by putting continuous catheter we can provide complete analgesia for the entire lower extremity surgery in post-operative period. Contraindications: general contraindications include local block site infection, significant coagulation abnormalities and inability to cooperate during block placement or surgery. Lumbar plus sacral plexus block should not be used bilaterally due to overdoses of local anesthetic and resulted in systemic toxicity of local anesthetic drug. Advantages: advantage over spinal or epidural anesthesia include very minimal risk of the sympathetic block and subsequent cardiac complications, which can be very disastrous in patients with severe to critical mitral or aortic stenosis. It is best choice for anesthesia as analgesia for lower extremity surgery in a patient who are not fit for spinal or epidural anesthesia. Equipments: sterile towel, antiseptic solution, sterile gloves, marking pen, surface electrodes, 10 ml syringe, 1.5 cm 25 gauge needle with syringe, 10 cm long short bevel insulated stimulating needles, peripheral nerve stimulator and local anesthetic drug mixture. Technique: ideally, blocks should be performed in a room dedicated to regional anesthesia, which includes ASA standard monitors, oxygen source, suctioning and emergency resuscitation equipments including lipid emulsion. Patient should be in lateral decubitus position with slightly forward tilt, and foot on the side to be blocked should be positioned over the dependent leg. This is the position of the lumbar plexus and sacral plexus block, and if not contraindicated, then block is best performed after pre-medication or sedation, that can be midazolam or fentanyl. Volume and choice of local anesthetic. Lumbar and sacral plexus block relatively require very large volume of local anesthetic drug due to widespread nature of plexus inside the fascial plane, and choice and concentration of local anesthetic should be based on whether block is performed for surgical anesthesia or pain management. The table is showing how much volume of various local anesthetics as well as additive will require to give individual block, and how much duration of anesthesia as well as analgesia will be there after giving such block. Total volume of local anesthetic cocktail mixture including additives and NS will be 50 ml. Out of that, 30 ml cocktail mixture should be injected at the lumbar plexus site and remaining 20 ml should be injected at sacral plexus site. Adrenaline is almost routinely used as a vascular marker. Now we are going to perform lumbar plexus block, and after we will give sacral plexus block. Anatomy of lumbar plexus. Lumbar plexus consists of 5 nerves on each side, the first of which emerge between first and second lumbar vertebra and last between last lumbar vertebra and base of the sacrum. As the L2, L3 and L4 nerve roots of the lumbar plexus splits off their spinal nerves and emerges from the intervertebral foramina, they enter into the psoas muscle. Within the muscle, these nerve roots then split into the anterior and posterior divisions, which reunite to form individual branches of the plexus. The major branches of lumbar plexus includes genitofemoral nerve, lateral femoral cutaneous nerve of thigh and obturator nerve. This is the diagram showing how lumbar plexus is formed by various nerves coming out from L2, L3 and L4 nerve roots. The femoral nerve is formed by posterior division of L2, L3 and L4 nerve roots, and anterior division of same nerve roots forms other major branches of lumbar plexus, that is known as a obturator nerve. This is the schematic diagram showing formation of various branches of lumbar plexus. In that, anterior division of L2, L3 and L4 nerve roots join together and form obturator nerve, that is in yellow color, and posterior division of same nerve roots join together and form femoral nerve, that is in green color. Now we will get landmark for the lumbar plexus block, and after we will give PNS guided lumbar plexus block. It includes midline, that will be spinous process, highest point of the iliac crest, and needle entry point of lumbar plexus will be the just 4 cm lateral to the intersection of landmark 1 and landmark 2. This is the diagram showing surface anatomy of the lumbar plexus. In that, we made one vertical line from the spinous process and one horizontal line from the highest point of the iliac crest. Just 4 cm lateral to the vertical line joining the horizontal line, our entry site for the lumbar plexus block will be there. Good afternoon friends. Today we are planning to give PNS guided lumbar plexus plus sacral plexus block for total hip arthroplasty surgery. This patient is known case of diabetic hypertension with in echocardiography. Patient here has severe aortic stenosis with ejection fraction of 50% and sclerosed aortic valve and concentric LVH. So we are planning to give this surgery under lumbar plexus plus sacral plexus block. So first we will do landmark for the lumbar plexus block. After we will get landmark for the sacral plexus block, and then we will give PNS guided lumbar plexus plus sacral plexus block. For lumbar plexus block, first we will palpate the iliac crest and we will mark highest point of the iliac crest. Yeah, this is our iliac crest. This is the highest point of the iliac crest. Second marking point is the spinous process, just parallel to the highest point of the iliac crest. Yeah. This space corresponds to the spinous process of L3 vertebra. Now we will draw the line from highest point of the iliac crest to the spinous process of L3 vertebra. Just 4 cm lateral to the spinous process of L3 vertebra, our entry site for the lumbar plexus block will be there. So this will be the our entry site for the lumbar plexus block. Now I am going to perform PNS guided lumbar plexus block. Various tips for the PNS guided lumbar plexus block. The skin is anesthetized by infiltrating local anesthetic subcutaneously. Then finger of the palpating hand are pressed against the paravertebral muscle to stabilize the landmark, and needle is inserted at a perpendicular angle to the skin. The nerve stimulator should initially set to deliver current at 3 mA and subsequently reduce the current up to 0.5 mA. Stimulation at current less than 0.5 mA should not be sought, because stimulation with such very low current may indicate placement of needle inside the dural sleeve, and it can be resulted in spread of local anesthetic inside the epidural subarachnoid space. Now we will give PNS guided lumbar plexus block, and then subsequently we will give PNS guided sacral plexus block. For lumbar plexus block, our target response will be the contraction of the quadriceps muscle at the 0.5 mA current. First we will try to get the contraction of quadriceps muscle at 3 mA current, and subsequently we will reduce current and we will try to get the contraction of the quadriceps muscle at 0.5 mA current. That will be the desirous response for the lumbar plexus block. And we will give 30 ml of the local anesthetic solution for the lumbar plexus block, and afterward we will give sacral plexus block. So now we are starting lumbar plexus block. I am using 12 cm Stimuplex insulated needle for the lumbar plexus block. Yeah, start. First at 3 milliampere current, we are trying to get the contraction of the quadriceps muscle. তাহলে একশোই লাগছে Our needle entry site will be the perpendicular to the skin. We'll slowly advancing the needle till we will get contraction of the quadriceps muscles. I am hitting the transverse plexus, so I am redirecting needle 5 cm granularly. Yeah. I am nicely getting the contraction of the quadriceps muscle at the 3 millimeter. Now reduce current to the 2 milliampere. Now we will try to get the contraction at the I'm nicely getting the quadriceps contraction at the 2 milliampere current. Reduce to 1 milliampere current. At 1 milliampere current also I am getting the nice contraction of the quadriceps muscles. Now we reduce to 0.5 milliampere current. And we will try to get the contraction of the quadriceps muscle at the 0.5 milliampere current. Nicely I am getting the contraction of the quadriceps muscles at the 0.5 milliampere current. That will be the desired response for the lumbar plexus block. You can nicely see the contraction of quadriceps muscles at 0.5 milliampere current. Now I am injecting the 30 ml local anesthetic solution for the lumbar plexus block. Before that, we can check the contraction at the 0.2 milliampere current. If we will get contraction of the quadriceps muscle at the 0.2 milliampere current, then our needle tip might be inside the dural sleeve. So to avoid the inadvertent intradural injection, we should check the response at the 0.2 milliampere current also. Keep at 0.2 milliampere current. We are getting contraction, so I am slowly manipulating the needle to avoid the intradural injection. Now I am not getting response. Now put at the 0.5 milliampere current. At 0.5 milliampere current I am getting quadriceps contraction, and at 0.2 milliampere current I am not getting quadriceps muscle contraction. That means our needle tip is exactly at the left side of the lumbar plexus. So I am aspirating and giving local anesthetic mixture. Every 5 to 6 cc I am aspirating to avoid the inadvertent intravascular injection of the local anesthetic. Yeah, we had given total 30 ml of the local anesthetic solution at the lumbar plexus side. Now we'll give PNS guided sacral plexus block. Successful lumbar plexus blockage depend on deposition of local anesthetic inside the fascial plane of psoas muscle, and nerve stimulation is used to identify this plane by illustrating stimulation of one of the root of lumbar plexus. These are the various troubleshooting procedures during lumbar plexus block. If we obtain wrong response during lumbar plexus block, then what can be the interpretation and what can be the problem and how to correct it. This table is showing various wrong response obtained during lumbar plexus block and how to correct it to get desired motor response and to make lumbar plexus block successful. Now I am going to perform PNS guided sacral plexus block. Anatomy of sacral plexus. Sacral plexus is formed by lumbosacral trunk and ventral rami of first, second and third sacral nerves. The nerve forming sacral plexus converge toward the greater sciatic notch and unite to form large band in front of the piriformis muscle, and it runs in the fascial plane limited by pelvic fascia ventrally and piriformis muscle dorsally. This is the diagram showing anatomy of sacral plexus formation from L4, L5, S1, S2 and S3 nerve roots. Branches of the sacral plexus. Major branches includes sciatic nerve and posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh. And other minor branches includes superior and inferior gluteal nerve and nerve to piriformis, gemelli and quadratus femoris. This is the schematic diagram showing formation of sacral plexus. In that, L4 and L5 nerve roots will join together and form lumbosacral trunk, and ventral rami of S1, S2 and S3 nerve roots will join with lumbosacral trunk and form complete sacral plexus. Parasacral approach to the sciatic nerve block is a true sacral plexus block, and injection of local anesthetic occurs in a fascial plane around the branches of entire sacral plexus before the sciatic nerve is formed. Landmark for the sacral plexus block. It includes first marking point is posterior superior iliac spine and second point is lowest point of ischial tuberosity, and needle entry point will be the junction of upper 1/3 and lower 2/3 of line joining PSIS and lowest point of ischial tuberosity. This is the diagram showing surface landmark for the needle entry site of sacral plexus block. Now we will get landmark for the sacral plexus block. For sacral plexus block, first we will palpate the posterior superior iliac spine. Yeah, this is posterior superior iliac spine, and second point is the lowest part of the ischial tuberosity. Yeah, this is the lowest part of the ischial tuberosity. Now we will join the line from the posterior superior iliac spine to the lowest point of the ischial tuberosity. Yeah. Now we will divide this line into the three parts. This is around 24 centimeter, so 8 centimeter and 16 centimeter. For sacral plexus block, our entry site will be the junction of the upper 1/3 and lower 2/3 of the line joining posterior superior iliac file, and distal tuberosity will be there. So this will be the entry site for the sacral plexus block. Stop. Now I am going to perform PNS guided sacral plexus block. Tips for the PNS guided sacral plexus block. Skin is anesthetized by infiltrating local anesthetic. Then finger or palpating head should be pressed against the gluteal muscle to stabilize the landmark and decrease skin nerve distance, and needle is inserted at perpendicular angle to the skin. Initially, nerve stimulator should set at 3 mA current and subsequently will reduce current up to 0.5 mA. The correct motor response are extension or flexion of the foot or toes. A proximal response may be result of muscular contraction of piriformis muscle or of the obturator internus muscle. Should not be accepted. This is the entry site for the sacral plexus block. For sacral plexus block, our target response will be the contraction of the calf muscle at the 0.5 mA current. Either dorsiflexion of the foot or plantar flexion of the foot. That will be the target response for the sacral plexus block. 3 mA. Yeah. First we'll try to get the contraction of the calf muscle at the 3 mA current, and subsequently we'll reduce the current, and with our desired response, if calf muscle contraction will get at 0.5 mA current, that means we are inside the plane of the sacral plexus. Other exoid axiom. I'm getting contraction of the hamstring muscle, so I will go little deep to get the contraction of the calf muscle.
I'm getting side pain.
Yeah. You can nicely see at the 3 mA current, I am getting the contraction of the calf muscle, and I am getting dorsiflexion of the foot. Reduce current to 2 mA. At 2 mA current also, I am getting the contraction. So we'll reduce current to 1 mA. 1 mA. Yeah, at 1 mA current also, I am nicely getting the contraction of the foot muscle and dorsiflexion of the foot. That will be due to the stimulation of the common Merovian nerve, which is the again branch of the sciatic nerve. So now reduce current to 0.5 mA. 0.5 mA. Yeah, I am nicely getting the contraction of the foot muscle, that is the dorsiflexion of the foot at the 0.5 mA current. That means our desired response for the sacral plexus we are getting. So now we'll give 20 ml of the local anesthetic solution for the sacral plexus block. safety rating and giving local anesthesia solution. Yeah. Now we had also completed sacral plexus block. So lumbar plexus block will cover the femoral nerve, obturator nerve, and lateral femoral cutaneous nerve of the thigh, and sacral plexus block will cover the sciatic nerve and posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh. So by giving the lumbar plexus plus sacral plexus block, we are covering the entire lower limb for the surgical anesthesia. Okay. This table is showing various troubleshooting procedures during sacral plexus block. If we'll get wrong response during sacral plexus block, then what can be the interpretation and what can be the problem and how to correct. Now, complications of lumbar and sacral plexus block. Lumbar and sacral plexus block are advanced regional anesthesia technique with potential for serious complications. The most common complications of lumbar plexus block includes epidural spread with high neuraxial block, hypotension, local anesthetic toxicity, spinal anesthesia, or ileopsoas or renal hematoma. These are the various strategies to reduce the risk of complications of lumbar and sacral plexus block. This is the funny cartoon made by our cartoonist anesthetist Dr. Ganesh Chaudhary. In that, surgeon is seriously asking anesthetist, "Sir, can we start surgery at least now?" And anesthetist is very comfortably giving answer to him, "Wait for block to act." This is the another very funny cartoon. I got it from internet, showing that if block is completely working, then how much happy will be the anesthetist. This is the complete theoretical as well as practical information regarding lumbar plexus and sacral plexus block and how to perform such advanced nerve block. Thank you. Thank you so much, friends. For more information regarding PNS and USG guided advanced regional anesthesia techniques, kindly contact us on call or WhatsApp on mobile number 99134 08345 or email ID hitesh0604@gmail.com.